how's it going? My name's Andy Monroe and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about 4 ways to monetize your live events. Now, of course, there are way more than 4 ways to monetize live events. However, for this video, I'm going to be covering some of my favorites and also some that I think are the most popular. So let's not waste any time and get into it. The first method for monetizing your live events I want to talk about is selling tickets. Selling tickets is probably the most common way to generate revenue for a live event. However, from my experience, it might not be the best way to generate profit from a live event. Whenever I'm selling tickets to an event, my main goal is to use the ticket revenue to break even with the amount of money that I spent on the event. So for example, if I'm spending $1.2 million on an event, I want to generate at least $1.2 million in revenue to cover all that costs, so that all of the revenue made at the event is pure profit. Now, of course, you can structure your event in the way that you market your event in a way that causes your ticket revenue to be profitable. However, for my events and the amount of people that we want at the event and the point where we start to meet a little bit of price resistance, all comes together and typically leads us to a break-even point when the event comes around. So whether you want to use ticket revenue to cover all of your event costs or you want to try and generate a profit, selling tickets to your live event is a great way to generate revenue. All right, the second method for monetizing your live event that I want to talk about is selling merchandise. Whenever you're throwing an event, you're bringing together a group of people that are either extremely interested in your brand or extremely interested in what you have to talk about and what the event is about. Whether they're there for your brand or for what the event is about, it's likely that they care about it enough to buy some merchandise. Merchandise is a way to make people feel like they're a part of a community and a part of something bigger than themselves. You see it all the time when people are wearing their favorite sports jerseys or wearing t-shirts of teams and clubs they've been a part of throughout their life. The same is true for live events. So I'd highly recommend that you sell merchandise to your attendees at your events. However, in my experience, it's actually not as easy as it sounds. At a lot of my events, I've tried to sell merchandise by just setting up one table with one person running it in the corner of the area outside the grand ballroom and hoping people will just find it. And yes, we sell a couple $100s worth of merchandise, but I realized that we were definitely missing out on a lot of revenue. There was an event I went to a couple months ago called Funnel Hacking Live, and they have absolutely crushed the merchandise game for live events. At every single one of their events, they create an entire immersive store right outside the main doors of the grand ballroom where the event is taking place. So when people are waiting to go inside the general sessions, they might as well go inside of this really cool immersive store and browse around. And they also just have really cool merchandise and really high quality product. So when you couple that with a cool experience in a place that you simply can't miss, it's going to cause a lot more people to take a look at your merchandise, which is then going to cause a lot more people to buy your merchandise. So if you're going to sell merchandise at your events, be intentional with it. Pick a good location and make it a good experience for your attendee. And also, this is a no-brainer, but make sure it's a good quality product as well. The third way to make money from your live events is to sell vendor and booth spots. So I'm sure at some point in your life you've been to an event where there have been a bunch of booths or a bunch of vendors set up throughout the event. Well, believe it or not, but those booths and vendors are actually buying space at that event to be there. And they're actually spending quite a bit of money as well. I remember at one of the first events I ever threw, as the event was going on, somebody came up to me and asked if I was selling any booth or vendor spots. I told them that I wasn't because the event had already started, and they told me that they would have paid me $50,000 to have a booth spot at the event. And when he said that, I was absolutely blown away. But then it made perfect sense to me. The product or service that he was selling was, 1, a perfect fit for our attendees, and 2, not a direct competitor with the product or service that we were selling. So both of our businesses were complementary to each other, which definitely makes for the perfect booth or vendor to work with. I've heard of events that have actually made quite a bit of money from selling booth and vendor spots. However, this is actually something that I haven't done myself. And the main reason that I haven't done it is that I don't want the sales from booths and vendors to cannibalize the potential sales for the products and services that we sell at our events. If somebody goes and spends $10,000 on a software from some other business, and then they come and hear the pitch to come join one of our programs, it's probably more unlikely that they would join because they had already spent $10,000 on something else. Another reason is booths and vendors can actually be kind of annoying. There's a big event in Utah every single year called Silicon Slopes, and when you're walking around outside of the main ballroom, you can't walk more than 30 steps without some booth or some vendor stopping you and trying to pitch you on their product or service or software. And after about 10 or 15 minutes, it gets super annoying. And that's the last thing that I want to happen at my event because I think that significantly decreases the client experience. Now, of course, that just takes good execution and good management, but it's just something that I haven't done yet. However, it's definitely a proven model. So if you want another way to generate revenue from your live events, you can definitely look into selling booth and vendor spots. All right, the fourth and final method for making money at your live events I want to talk about in this video video. And this one is actually my favorite method, and that is selling your own product or service at your live events. Now, if you think about it, somebody who buys a ticket to your event and takes the time out of their life, out of their busy life, to go and fly across the country to a new location and attend your event for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many days it is, that person is the perfect client for whatever product or service you're selling. And when they're at the event, they're going to be in the perfect buying mindset. They're going to be completely immersed in your community and in your brand. They're going to be learning from the speakers that you have assembled, from the coaches, from the other members of the community. And they're going to be riding this high throughout the entire event. It's going to be getting all of their endorphins to fire and all of their emotions to rise. You really can't create a better buying environment than a live event. For every event that I've thrown where we've sold one of our product or services at the event, we've generated well over $1 million, which is typically our biggest revenue month for the entire year. So yes, we spend a lot of money on the event. However, like I said earlier in the video, if we break even on ticket sales going into the event, is pure profit. Then whatever revenue we generate at the event from selling our product or service is pure profit. In my opinion, it's a no-brainer to sell your product, service, or software at your live event. However, one thing you want to be careful with is don't oversell. A rule of thumb that we like to live by at our company is give, ask, which is basically a 3-to-1 ratio of giving and asking. You want to make sure you're providing a ton of value for your attendees and giving a bunch of actionable information that they can take home and apply to their lives and their businesses and whatever it is they're working on. Because if you just get up there and gather everybody in the room and pitch to them the entire time, that's going to absolutely destroy the relationship. And also, I'd advise against letting other speakers that aren't associated with your business pitch on stage. Because when it turns into a giant pitch fest, the same result will happen. People will get a really bad taste in their mouth with your brand and your event. So make sure you deliver a ton of value, and when the timing is right, offer the people in the room a chance to use your product, service, or software. And if you truly believe in what you're offering, your product, service, or software should significantly help them in whatever it is they're doing. So to summarize, in my opinion, the best way to generate revenue at a live event is to sell your own product, service, or software. All right, that's all I got for you today. Keep an eye out for more videos on monetizing live events, because like I said at the beginning, there are definitely a lot of other ways. And I also want to make a series where I dive deeper into each one of these monetization methods and actually provide some strategies that I use to implement these methods at the events that I throw. So stay tuned. All right, I'll see you in the next video.